the $1 Million Mortgage Experience podcast.
All right, welcome to this week's podcast. We're here with Dr. Jason Phan. He is a naturopathic doctor passionate about alternative medicine, athletic performance, and helping people reach their goals. He started this awesome clinic called LIVV Natural here in San Diego, and they offer services like IV nutritional therapy, regenerative injections, hormone replacement therapy, and pain management. Welcome to the show, bud.
So thanks for having me, brother.
Stoked to have you on. I mean, we had you on, I think, maybe 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
And we were talking about, like, you know, everyone should do their blood work. It's just like running a credit report where you can see what's going on in someone's, you know, body. And then at that point you can, you know, attack whatever problems are, you know, happening behind the scenes, under the skin, right?
Just like anything else, like objectively, no one knows what's going on in your body, right? Like, I have no idea. You have no idea.
You know, if you have a headache, you know, if you have little aches or whatever, or like something's going on, your stomach's like messed up. But yeah.
The difference between your conventional doc running just your basic blood work and me, it's like I'm running your free testosterone, your IGF-1 to test your growth hormone levels. You know, I'll run inflammatory markers, chronic infections. I'll find things that most docs won't find to be like, John's like, I feel fine. And I'm like, I feel fine too.
Yeah.
But can you feel better? Or
right.
Can you do more?
And can you have preventative medicine, right? So I'm reading this book called Outlive. Have you heard of it?
Yep.
It's freaking awesome. But like, he goes into this, you know, health 3.0, which we've been all kind of stuck in, like health 1.0 and 2.0, which is all just like reactive and, oh, you have this problem, here, take a pill. You know, it's never like preventing things. And with the amount of people that are just sick and dying out there, there's a way to kind of find out early, right? Like,
actually, at the end stages of life, it gets tough because, like, this is all you know, right? You're like, I'm good, I'm fine. Then you turn 50, 60, 70, 80. You're like, all of you painted in your head was, I'm good, I'm healthy. But you're already on 10 medications, 10 supplements, blood pressure meds, glucose meds, you know, things for your kidneys.
Right.
And then you get congestive heart failure. You're wearing like compression sleeves every day. And you're like, I'm fine. Doctor says I'm good.
Right. But
gone.
You didn't know.
Then you're gone.
Jeez.
Too late.
Yeah.
Too late. At that stage, it's too late. Can you optimize in your 20s? We talked about your son. Can you optimize in your teens?
Sure.
And then can you optimize in 30s, 40s, 50s?
And the answer is?
Yes.
You can.
You can.
And you should. Especially if you have a little extra cash, right? I mean, it's not cheap per se, but again, you know, if you don't live long, then what's that worth to you?
I think people, well, you're in the finance world, like people save for their medical bills, right? So they'll save 100 grand, 200 grand, 300.
Right.
For the end stage of life, why not spend it all the way through?
And then enjoy life, yeah. In that book, it also talks about health, lifespan and health span. So I heard a quote the other day. It was something like this. I'm probably going to botch it, but it was like, he died at 30 and they buried him at 75. Where it's like, you know, you stop really living because maybe you died at 50 or 40. You know, whether that means like you just lost your passion, or it means like you just started getting sick and you weren't doing the same things that you used to do, like get out and surf or get out and, you know, run or play sports or whatever, but you know, because you're just sitting in a cubicle all day, right?
I think now, you know, modern day society, I said it 5 years ago to my business partner, I'm like, health and wellness is going to look very different and the space is going to look very different. This was 2018, 17, 18, now it's 2023. And I was like, Allie, the world is going to be different because everyone's going to shift towards alternative medicine.
Well, it's because there's so much knowledge and information that's pouring into you through social media that so anyone can sort of like spout out something they heard from TikTok or, you know, and maybe they're right, maybe they're not, but there's a lot of information out there that we never had before.
There's tons. Now you can go on, and I always call it Dr. Google. I'm like, just stay off of that. Medicine is going to change and shift. Yeah. If you look up your labs, you look up a supplement that you're on, and you're like,
this is scary.
Jay, this is scary. I don't want to be on it. And I'm like, don't worry, you're good. The science is sound. Like, we've been using this for decades. We've been using this for centuries.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. Freaking Wikipedia says
Google
this. Or
screenshot, text.
And I this is where AI gets into play. I think the traditional docs, AI is going to replace that. But our body's so complex. I'm like...
And everyone's unique, right? Like,
everyone's
we have
unique.
different...
And actually, I think Google's making knowledge maps of doctors like myself to be like, all right, what information clinically is working, right?
Yeah.
Tequila versus wine, or wine
you said
versus...
my favorite word, tequila. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah, sipping tequila versus shooting tequila is a little bit better approach, I think, right?
Well, I think, most people think tequila like, oh, dude, we're taking shots of tequila. After we drink tequila, I was like, all right, I get the differences between every single type of tequila. And you can taste the different notes of tequila.
Right.
Almost like if you were tasting whiskey versus wine. And most people are like, tequila's tequila, or, whiskey's whiskey, right? But there's the nuances that happen within there. So
how what made you want to be a naturopathic doctor versus like a MD?
I was always holistic in thinking, but I tore my ACL, high school football, and then senior year. There has to be a better way than surgeries, Percocets, Vicodin.
Right.
And I was 16, 17 years old. And I was like, 6-month recovery. I'm like, this is terrible.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, there's a better way. So then stem cell research, PRP, Kobe started getting PRP out in, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just shifted into chiropractic, acupuncture, and then found naturopathic medicine. And then halfway through medical school, I was like, for real, I'm like a real doctor. Pathology, diagnosis, like cancers, autoimmune diseases, Parkinson's, MS. And I'm like, all right, now I got a responsibility to take care of lives outside of just joints and pain management and sports.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, all right, what's going to shift in medicine? And then I saw it. I was like, oh, COVID expedited it, actually.
Sure.
Because everyone's like, do I get the vaccine? Do I not get the vaccine? Is this real? Is this not real? Is this going to make me worse? And I'll tell you, just clinically, right? I'm seeing a lot of post-COVID. Post-COVID, just you contracting COVID or getting from the vaccine.
I think, I don't know, I know 5 people that have gotten COVID after getting the vaccine. It doesn't stop it from getting COVID.
And symptoms vary, right? And everybody's a little bit different. So I'm like, some people get shortness of breath. Some people get joint pain. Yep. Some people get anxiety, depression from it. And you'll see it through the labs, like your inflammatory markers go up. Or you exacerbate an autoimmune disease.
Yep.
And if you do that, then it's like, Jason, I feel like shit. Once you get to that point, I'm like, well, we got a lot of work to do now.
Yeah.
Irregardless of, if you're pro-vaccine or not. I'm like, or if you're COVID's real or not. COVID's real. It's just, does it mount a response in the body?
One thing that just kind of like made me just my mind went, questioning things was when they would just send people home, right? Like it was like, just go home. We don't have can't really help you. So that's why I was, when you said like during COVID, the naturopathic stuff kind of boomed. Because I was thinking like, well, if your doctor can't help you to like, if you have COVID, just go home and like, get through it. You kind of need someone who's like more preventative to say like, hey, let me help you. You need some vitamins. You need this, you need that. And, there's like some supplements that are kind of a racket or a scam or whatever. But they're for sure your body, especially when you do like your blood work, your body tells you you're low on vitamin D, you're low on vitamin B. You need this and then you can kind of correlate that to certain things that happen, right? Causations of, being low and deficient in certain areas, right?
This is how I look at it now, just looking at thousands of sets of blood work. I'm like, your labs versus my labs, we should be the same. At 50 versus 34, I'm like, you should be the same. And you can be optimal now. 50 years ago, they were like, no, we're not doing that. Conventional medicine's like, no way. I'm like, there's a 72-year-old that's beating a 32-year-old right now, for sure.
In their labs.
100%.
Yeah. Because they're taking time to find out what's going on. And then they're also, optimizing, and they're saying, I want to live longer. I want to live, not just live longer, but live better.
Testosterone levels should be around 1100. Your free testosterone should be perfect.
No matter what your age is.
No matter what your age is as a male.
Yeah.
Obviously decreasing cholesterol is big. Men's health, here's men's health in general. Cardiac health, protect that. Prostate health, protect that. We're subconsciously thinking about our hair all the time. So
absolutely,
guys are out there, you're thinking about your hair. Like, don't lose your hair, receding hairlines, hair thinning. So hair is another big one. Then I would say mojo, confidence, sex drive, libido, just confidence to walk in a room and be like, I'm here.
Yeah.
That's testosterone.
And energy. Like, as you get older, we lose that energy, right? It's like, when kids have so much energy and they get like, I miss that. So, I think what I'm doing with you is helping that, like helping energy, NAD+, other stuff. So it's certainly, yeah, I think, you don't have to live in this fatigue state with this brain fog, and you don't have to live like that. You can actually go and optimize your health.
I think people have fears around it, right? Is this going to cause me cancer? Is this right. Safe? Is this going to make it?
Has this been tested?
Am I going to be on this forever?
Right.
Is this going to last forever type deal? And you have adequate levels of blood of testosterone versus estrogen versus dihydrotestosterone, like plethora of lab values.
Yeah.
But there's optimal states of it, and you can kind of get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where medicine's shifting towards. And you could feel good all the time. Your mitochondrial shrivel up over time, NAD, or MOTC, like peptide wise. Your growth hormone declines over time, your recovery kind of sucks. All right, here, growth hormone secretagogues stimulate more somatotropes. If you're 70 and dealing with an autoimmune disease, then it's like, hey, we got natural things that doesn't suppress your immune system, so you're more susceptible for more disease.
Yeah.
We can modulate your immune system and be like, hey, you don't have joint pain, you don't get all the negative side effects from pharmaceuticals, and you don't get all this brain fog that's coming.
Yeah.
So there's specific things out there. Low dose naltrexone's out there. BPC 157's out there. High doses of vitamin C will kind of decrease that. Ozone therapy will decrease inflammation.
Oxygen.
Oxygen.
It's really good, right?
It's like cold plunges.
Cold plunge. Don't get me started about the cold plunge. I think it's the biggest trend right now, right? I mean, like, I do it every day. I love it. I feel great. It does definitely reduces any inflammation, like soreness and stuff. But I wanted to ask you, so what do you think is happening with like health right now? I mean, in a way, since COVID started, I think people are starting to become more aware of their health just in general, and that there are things that are causing, problems, inflammation. There's a lot of autoimmune diseases out there. What do you think is causing this? I know it's like there's toxins. We were just talking about floss. There's toxins and all kinds of stuff. Like, how, what's happening?
I think top three things. Mental, emotional is going to be number one. Just the anxiety that we have, it's stemmed from our social norms, social media, dopamine release as you're scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, and you're consuming so much information that it's hard to kind of just stay like, take a deep breath, I'm good. So
yeah, we don't take time to breathe sometimes, right?
Yep. So then obviously hormonal wise, you get a cortisol shunt, meaning you move away from hormones, you shunt towards cortisol, your stress hormone. Then cortisol, it's called Cushing syndrome if you have like a specific disease, but it attaches into the truncal area. So you'll start getting abdominal fat. Mm-hmm. It goes on the back of your neck. So you're always getting like neck pain and back pain.
Yep.
So stress related is, hey, are we giving antidepressants? Are we giving, anti-anxiety meds? And that's like a whole nother issue, but it's usually stemming from what society's doing now. So more people are talking about it. I think that's one big shift. And then I think the second one is all of our foods. Like, there can be plenty of diets out there. Like, me and you have both tried hundreds. Carnivore diet, vegetarian diet, vegan. We can talk about it all. But our food is just toxic. Here, backstory, I sold my car right after undergrad. I bought a surfboard, one-way ticket to Costa Rica, stayed there for like 4 months with my best bud. And we go to the grocery store every day. things were rotting, like lettuce was rotting, bananas, apples, whatever. And I'm like, this is a real supermarket around the world.
Yeah.
But if you go to Whole Foods, you go to Lazy Acres, you go to Ralph's, wherever, it's red bell pepper looks like a red bell pepper. And you're like,
yeah,
is that real? When I come back, real, yeah. I came back and I'm like, is this real? And that's where I know it's toxic. Here, and I'll backstory that. I'll run 100 sets of labs on 100 people randomly, and I'll test for viruses. 80% will come back positive. I'll put my money on it right here. I'm like, dude, I'll give you $100. I'm like, if I run 100 people and I ran environmental toxins, BPA, glyphosates, insecticides, 80% will come back positive. I don't care if you went to Whole Foods. I don't care if you go to the freaking farmer's market. You grow
your own even?
You grow your own even.
Yeah, because just whatever's coming in that's in the air. I mean,
it's in the seeds. Is it in the
seeds? Yeah,
it's in the seeds. So our world is so toxic. We can talk about 5G. We can talk
Europe
about,
is a little bit better, right? They don't allow. They have like more laws, strict laws. Like
I think Mars is better, but
Mars is toxic.
Elon, get us there.
So what do you do? I mean, like I know, we have a little garden in our house, and it's not doing so good, but it's hard. It's hard to run businesses and take care of kids, and not that I'm doing everything. My wife does a ton and does more, but like it's so hard to grow a garden and maintain it and have everything that But like, what do you do? I mean, is there a way to detox from all that stuff? I do the sauna. Like, what else do you do?
Big things to kind of detox now. It's like understanding where your lab values are. And once you understand where they are, then it's coming to the awareness of like, hey, I'm going to spend a little bit of money to make sure I can eradicate anything from the body. Is it mycotoxins or mold? Is it heavy metals? We talked about that yesterday with you. So you can use chelation. So calcium.
What is chelation? That's like is that an English word? I don't know.
So heavy metals, let's just say you eat salmon every day. They'll collect heavy metals through the water. As you intake that through the body, those heavy metals will get through the gut, get into the bloodstream. Let's just say it's mercury, right,
which
fillings.
Is not a good thing to have in your blood.
Then obviously it spills and it attaches into fat, skeletal muscle, like the actual muscle itself, and it'll go into bone. Once it deposits there, then it's just like sitting there within the bloodstream. Then most people will get like anxiety, depression. They'll get joint pain. They'll get digestive issues.
All from this mercury.
So
how do you get rid of it? Besides just going to live.
Yeah. So what happens with chelating agents? There's actually a medication that you can do IV suppository. You can actually put it up your butt.
Okay.
And then you want to detox these specific heavy metals. And it'll start pulling out of the blood, but it'll start pulling out of tissue as well. Once it starts pulling those heavy metals out of tissue, this is where infrared saunas are going to be important. Biggest detox organ, skin. Mm-hmm. You want to just sweat it all out. But the chelating agent will actually strip all of these heavy metals and get it out of the body.
Wow.
A big one, cilantro.
Is that like a IV chelating?
IV chelation is probably the heaviest hitter.
Okay.
Tony Robbins did IV chelations when he found heavy metals. It strips everything though. So you'll need to have a specific protocol to remineralize and things like that. But do people have heavy metals? It's just, here's the kicker. Is your body strong enough to not have symptoms? If you're asymptomatic, you're going to feel fine.
Yeah.
If your body's weaker, you're going to be like, I feel all of it.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's when you'll see me. But why not be preventative?
Sure.
And understand, hey, do I have it? Do I not have it? Let me outlive everybody.
Yeah, that's good. I like outlive. So there's a big trend on TikTok going on right now with parasites. And it's just such a scary word, right? Like parasites. But they're like what? They're like these little, like, they're microscopic, right? Or maybe they're bigger, but like is it a thing? Like, do a lot of people have parasites in the US?
A lot of people have parasites. Like I said before.
Which is causing maybe inflammation or other things in your body? Okay,
here. You go to Mexico, eat their food, drink their water, do the whole thing. You have traveler's diarrhea when you're there.
Usually, I go all the time, so I don't
usually it's Giardia. And then obviously you'll get diarrhea from that. But when your body is weak, you're more susceptible.
Yep.
So if there's parasites that stick in your gut, they can grow and replicate. They grow and replicate with a full moon. So as the moon cycles, they start replicating more. But then they'll start eating all your nutrients. So as they start eating all your nutrients, now you're more susceptible and now you're more depleted. So you get more fatigued, insomnia.
Wow.
The symptoms that you typically get is going to be night sweats because your body's trying to detox it. Then when you wake up, you're always fatigued. And then you'll get joint pain because it's in the blood. Parasites are terrible. Like my business partner had parasites for 10 years. And Didn't know. Then it leaves you more susceptible for SIBO, which is small intestinal bowel overgrowth and different pathogenic bacteria. So kill it off. How you kill it off, there's different things out there.
Well, aren't a lot of diseases caused by parasites? Like lupus and like river blindness and some autoimmune diseases, right? Like, because if they prescribe hydroxychloroquine, which they're probably going to ban this podcast because I said that word, but if they prescribe that for like Graves' disease or like certain other diseases, but that's an anti-parasitic, right? It's like that's the drug, it kills parasites. So is there some like,
there's layers to this.
Am I connecting too many dots?
No, you're connecting. This is what I do as a naturopathic doctor, actually. What you trying to connect and what people are connecting is the patterns that happen. And I always call this one the onion.
Yeah.
Let's just say you have an underlying autoimmune disease that hasn't been exacerbated or put to the surface.
Yep.
Then you get a parasite infection. And then that parasite infection puts, you have childhood diarrhea for 4 days. And then you're like, oh, after that, you're like, I'm good. Then you layer on top a stressful event. You lost $5 million. Now you're like,
that would be stressful.
Now you're like super stressed. Inflammatory markers spike, CRP spikes, everything spikes. Then now you're more susceptible. Your immune system drops. The parasites keep replicating more. Let's just say now you get pneumonia. Now you're freaking put down for 2 weeks. Then you get COVID on top of it.
So it's really not causing necessarily the pneumonia, but it's just weakening your immune system because it's stripping nutrients. It's doing all this other stuff. And then there's toxins in the parasites themselves as they excrete whatever, right?
Then it spikes all of your inflammatory markers. Then you pull an autoimmune disease to the surface. Now you got Graves' disease. Meaning those inflammatory markers spiked up so much, now you have the symptoms. Now your body fights itself.
So if you can kill the parasites, then your body's not trying to fight them. It can now focus on, okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. So there's layers to it, right?
Yeah.
Then it drops your testosterone. Let's just say you see low testosterone after parasites, Graves' disease, inflammatory markers, my joints hurt. Low testosterone, your body's I would say your body's constantly in war.
Yeah.
If you're in war, you're not trying to procreate and make testosterone.
Right.
You're trying to fight. So the first step is kill everything off. Go to war, kill it all off, help support your body. Then you can kind of move towards the testosterone route and, optimize. Can't optimize when you need to kill.
Yeah. Let's talk about fasting, because fasting, I'm fascinated with fasting because it's like, we've been told we need to eat 3 meals a day. And then they said 3 meals plus snacks. And it's like to keep your metabolism, which, turns out to be complete bullshit. We're not supposed to be eating that much, right? Like if you think back to ancestry, like what do they do and how they survive? How is our body made to store fat? And it's, it's made for that for a reason. So what's the truth about fasting? I know intermittent fasting is like a trend, but like, let's talk about like 24-hour OMAD, or let's talk about 48, 36 hour, like even a week, 40 days. Like there's science to all of it.
Yeah. So if you just bring it to it, fasting starts depleting glucose stores and glucagon stores. Glucose, let's just say you have anything that's sweet has glucose in it, spikes your glucose levels. After the glucose goes up, it stores glucagon in your liver, and you can have like 200 micrograms of glucagon. Once you start fasting, it starts burning the glucagon and it starts burning some glucose. Once that happens, and you actually get into ketosis, which is ketone bodies, your body switches from using glucose to ketone bodies. I don't know the exact.
Is there a more optimal fuel?
So it's more based on ketone bodies operate, I think, 35% better than glucose. But it's very short term, meaning if back in the day, let's just say you haven't killed a buffalo in 2 weeks, now you're starving,
Yeah.
now you got to go kill it. Me and you were in ketosis. We're like, fuck up this buffalo.
It gives you some good energy. I know it's.
So you get more mental clarity. You'll
Yeah.
be sharper. You know, you have more energy. And
That's
then
the
obviously,
only way our species could have survived. If we got all foggy and like you couldn't, and you're weak, you couldn't climb up and get that coconut, or you couldn't.
we couldn't kill the buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah.
So me and you were like, yo, let's go kill the buffalo. Once we kill the buffalo and we take all that fat in, we take all the protein in, we're like, all right, we're good.
Yeah.
Then you can sit back, your testosterone rises, you know, you can make babies, you can start knitting, and I don't know what you do. But then
sharpening your spear.
Then when you eat all the buffalo, what happens again? You switch into ketosis.
Yeah.
So fasting, our bodies are meant to fast, or we have the ability to fast and you switch into ketone bodies. So if you want to lose weight, and our society now, it's like we have everything at our disposal, even more now. DoorDash, boom, click a button to your door, 30 minutes.
Ridiculous.
It's
what is wrong with us? We went from hunting buffalo to grabbing a piece of glass and clicking a thing and going food. And they
Food
just, like,
now.
brought to us. It's like next we'll be putting it in our mouth.
This is actually a good thing that we move into. Is I actually got, hey Jason, like you're not a natural doctor. Like you're doing all of these peptides and injections. None of these things were natural. IVs.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, dude, 500 years ago, we didn't have what we're battling now.
True.
Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 5G, 6G, 10G, whatever it is.
Yeah.
GMOs, artificial foods, fake foods. So now it's like, and then I would say Amazon. Me and you ordered something right now. What happens? Boom, it's here today almost.
Yeah.
Next day at the
almost
latest.
Today. Sometimes today.
Health-wise, as a naturopath, I'm like, Jon, you got to eat better. You got to eat your vegetables. You got to drink more water. You got to meditate. You got to take all these supplements.
Let's talk about water. I want to talk about water.
Here, let me finish. So you got to do all these things.
Yeah.
And then you got to do this for 6 months. Jon's like, fuck that. I'm going to be drinking tequila. I'm going to be flying.
I need it now.
Exactly.
Where's my Amazon app for health? Boop, boop.
So this is where I know medicine is going to shift. It's going to be shifting towards injections and instant gratification now.
Yeah.
Then I sprinkle on top, hey, here's the lifestyle skills to keep it off weight,
Right.
or to live a healthy lifestyle. You need these factors into play.
Yeah.
I'll make you, I'll energize you now, but don't be the slum bag and dirt bag that you were before,
Right.
eating Taco Bell at 12 o'clock and, doing what you do.
Yeah. So water.
Water.
Our ancestors, people who were hunting the buffalo, they didn't have sparklets. They didn't have Dasani, right? They didn't have it at the ready. They had, if they were
Fiji.
lucky, they had rivers nearby. So they had their little, there's a little, moccasin or whatever, the little like
Yeah.
things
The
that they
little
would
pouch of the water.
pouch of water, right? So they couldn't theoretically ever drink. What is it? What do they want us to drink?
A gallon. Let's just say a gallon. Or half your body weight or whatever.
How could anyone ever? And so, with all the toxins and is it parabens, whatever's in the plastic,
Hairpins, yeah.
is actually, if you drink 24 bottles of Dasani, is that going to be good for you, or is that just going to be also giving you? Is it just hydrating versus
Creating more toxins in the body?
that? But there was something someone said, it was like hydration versus irrigation. Like when you're just drinking all this water, it's like an irrigation versus a hydration. Like you need salt to and minerals to absorb that H2O. I'm just bringing up stuff I've heard, and I'm asking you as a pro to fill us in on this.
Our body needs more water now because a lot of things dehydrate us. And I think the water sources that we have, obviously, here, the only thing that's ever put into our body besides going to live and injections and whatnot is food and water.
Right.
Is it water-based with Coca-Cola, or is it Celsius, or is it coffee? It's all water-based. Where's the water source coming from? Are you getting more toxins into your gut?
Yeah.
If you're getting clean water sources, then great. It's going to detox you really fast, right? Let's just say you drink a gallon of water a day.
I've never drank it. I mean, maybe a week I did it as an experiment, but I never do that. Like, is that a thing? You're supposed to drink that much water? Really?
You're supposed to drink more water, for sure. Here's the water. Each cell has extracellular fluid, intracellular fluid. If you have more spillage of nutrients going in and out, there's like a sodium potassium pump. It kind of pumps nutrients in and out. Mm-hmm. If you have more toxins and you drink more water, you're going to go to the bathroom more, but you're actually going to make that channel work efficiently and detox toxins.
Mm-hmm. That's just getting rid of,
more water now.
Are you supposed helps your kidney function? Or is that what it is too?
I think more water is needed now because there's so many toxins in our body from our foods that you got to spill more. Like you got to detox with water.
Yeah.
This is why I always say infrared saunas are important, because if we're toxic, what's our biggest detox organ? Like before,
skin. Yeah.
So water, skin, sweat, get it all out, spill it out of the body.
I like it. There's a lot to do. You can get kind of obsessed. Like I get obsessed with it because it's like there is a lot to know. There's too much information. I mean, we've been lied to over the years with like margarine and the food pyramid and like all this stuff. It's like, and there's so much information now that you can get, vegans better, carnivores better, this and that. It's like, what the hell do you do? Right. And then you can't, some doctors are so old school that they just, it's nonsense. And then others are like, no, you need to really, it's tough. It's a tough world out there to figure it out.
It's a tough world. I think this is where I think medicine's shifting. You need a person like me, a person that you trust to be like, all right, I'm going to bring my whole family here. My mom, my daughter, my son, everybody's going to this because you know where medicine's shifting towards.
Yeah.
And what I tell most people, it's like, let me quarterback the care. Let me be the Patrick Mahomes. I'll throw you the ball, catch the ball, put it in the end zone. Meaning, it's so complex. If you go on to Google, you go on TikTok, Instagram, they're going to sell you on a supplement and be like, this supplement works.
Yeah.
And you're like, you need me to be like, hey, is this real? Should I take it? And I'm like, no.
No.
But I need to know your history first, right? I need to know what your blood work looks like.
Yeah.
I want more testosterone. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And here's the history. Here's your objective numbers, like your credit score, for instance.
Right.
Like your credit score is at 600.
That's pretty shitty.
You need some work. You got some work to do.
Let's work on it before you go out and buy a house. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's the same thing with health. Hey,
dude, people need testosterone because like so many people, if it's low, they're not going to want to go hunt for loans. Like they don't have that fire in the gut where they can go out and just go hunt. So I'm a big believer in you check out your T and see if it's low. If it's low, get that up so then you can get out and hunt for loans again, right? I'm preaching to the choir.
Men's health is, I always say this, it's simple. It's like men want to look good, feel good, have good sex, make money. So if you don't have the testosterone piece with all of that, you're not going to want to go out there and hunt and make money.
Right.
You're not going to have the libido piece. And you're going to feel bad about yourself because you get estrogen dominance, estrogen rises. And then you're like, poor me.
The market sucks. What am I going to do? Yeah.
And I usually say, like, no one cares about you.
No.
No one cares about you.
You think they do, but they don't.
They don't.
No. It's so true.
You got to love yourself, right? And then obviously that brings a whole
Your mom cares about you. That's about it.
True.
And maybe your dad.
Most moms. Dad sometimes.
So high stress industry we're in, right? Mortgages, real estate. It's a shitty market right now. There's not a lot of loans out there. There's not a lot of real estate to be sold. And so I'm sure you're starting to see more people come in. And what are the results that you've been seeing? Like the feedback you're getting from people after they've done this protocol and they've kind of seen what's in their bodies, what's wrong, and they start feeling better. What happens like to people that are in high stress?
5 years ago, I was moving way slower. Now I'm like, Jon, instant results. Let me get you instant results now. So what I'm seeing now is, let's just say men in their 50s, they come in and they're like high stress entrepreneurs, commercial real estate. Hey, Jason, if I don't feel better and have more energy tomorrow, I won't land this deal. And literally I'm with the homeless on 12th Street or whatever it is.
Right.
And I have to produce them instant results.
So you give them a shot or something, or you give them IV?
So the biggest stacks I typically use is for males, testosterone, ACG, NAD. I use a lot of CoQ10, vitamin D to kind of spike levels up. And is there anything inflammatory in them that I can kind of bring down? Then guys look good, feel good, have good sex, make money. If one of those things is off, sex drive is big. I use PT141. It's a specific peptide that increases sexual arousal. So I'm using that a lot to kind of just get men's mojo.
Is that a shot or is that a pill that you could sprinkle in your wife's drink?
It works for females too. Cool. But for males specifically, it's like, here, I always say, men swallow their pride. It's fine.
Yeah.
Their wife's yelling at them, the kids are yelling, like, I got it. And then everything comes out to be like, I'm going to distract myself with work. As you distract yourself with work, you're like, I got to land this deal. The kids are hungry. My wife's yelling at me.
Counts are getting lower.
Exactly. The counts are getting lower. And they're like, so I actually teach males to be like, what percentage are your ideal self, business-wise? How much money you got in the bank? You're like, are you good? If you're not good, like, get there. How much time you're spending with your wife? Like, real quality time.
Yep.
What percentage? 50%, 80%, 20%?
What do you want it to be? Yeah.
Then it goes, what type of father you want to be if you have kids. I'm like, 20%? Are you spending enough time? Are you spending enough quality time teaching them concepts, lessons? And the real medicine is actually in that. I can get perfect testosterone in you, but you leave and you're like, I feel great. And then you go home and you're still a dirtbag and a shithead. Yeah. And you're only thinking about yourself or ruminating thoughts. I'm like,
you're not going to get better.
You're not going to get better.
It's going to be a bad situation. Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm seeing more of now is like coaching males to be their ideal self and then optimizing and giving them the tools to feel energized, to feel like themselves, to get enough confidence and energy to perform in the workplace,
right,
and at home. I think there's a stigma around testosterone that most people, male and female, they're like, oh, they're taking steroids. They're the big guy at the gym, like,
right.
Like, I'm gonna get man boobs. I'm gonna get all these things. And I think the stigma around is the angry, bald-headed,
the rage,
right? And I'm like,
that exists. There's those guys.
But masculinity isn't about testosterone, in my opinion, right? Yeah. Masculinity is, hey, do you have the confidence, the whereabouts to provide and have the mindset towards more masculine energy? A more like me and you both have feminine energies that we're like, hey,
easy. Just kidding.
That we have feminine energies to be like, hey, we're empathetic, we're supportive, we're compassionate. Mm-hmm. We cry during, the Notebook or whatever it is. and
I am such a little wuss when it comes to my kids. So like we're at my daughter's new, this university she wants to go to, and I'm sitting there, I'm like my little girl, I get little tears, I'm like, I am such a softie when it comes to my kids. It's crazy.
And I think that's where masculinity and femininity come into play. It's like we can having a daughter, I'm sure, I haven't kids yet, but brings you more into your feminine self. You can understand and be more empathetic towards having her cycles once a month, being compassionate and being patient with her to be like, right. Hey babe, it's gonna be
lose my shit.
It's gonna be okay.
Right.
Your mom's here, but I'm here too. Like,
so doing testosterone won't kill that, right?
No. Testosterone is a very biological thing that happens in the body.
Yeah.
As testosterone spikes, it's what gives males their libido, their sex drive, their facial hair, their executive function, concentration, focus, memory. It gives them the muscle mass. Mm-hmm. So it gives you your skeletal bone structure. Gives you your lean body mass as well. Gives you your energy.
Yeah.
But male testosterone optimum is around 1100. Mm-hmm. Female testosterone, 30.
That's low.
It's different.
It's supposed to be low, yeah.
It's supposed to be low.
Yeah.
So if you had a testosterone of 30, it's here.
That'd
it's
be
not
different, yeah.
It's not feminine. You would have biologically very low testosterone, and physiologically, meaning how your body would turn, would be different.
Yep.
How you would think would be different.
Right.
It's not saying you have feminine energy. It's saying, you have hypogonadism and you have very, very low testosterone.
Yep. And so like this has been more and more common in the last 10 years, 20. I mean, I think fertility's going down, right? And both males and females, it's been hard. It's harder and harder for people to get pregnant naturally, and it's also the testosterone levels in just even younger people is dropping, and some people I've heard say the water we drink, some of it's whatever, the food we eat, the toxins in the air, like just all around, like the food, like right.
It's all of it, right? It's birth control, right? Regulating your hormones over time.
Yeah.
It's going to be our food sources. We talked about it with all the toxins.
But how does that lower your testosterone?
So as our body goes to war, it's not trying to procreate.
Oh, yeah. So we're fighting. Like our bodies are fighting off toxins, and that's depleting, or that's yeah.
Let's just say with technology and the internet in the last 20 years, kids are happening later in life instead of sooner. So once a female has her reproductive cycles, she's trying to procreate.
Yeah.
What happens when she goes through perimenopause or menopause in between 45 and 55? Not trying to procreate.
Right.
After that, actually went to an anti-aging conference. It was really fascinating to kind of see like modern day society now versus earlier. Females died at 50, right after menopause.
Right.
Done.
Yeah.
Evolutionary wise, why we need older females now is the females that we have now, the mothers, are inadequate to show their offspring, the kids, the grandkids. We need grandmas to teach the kids how to sew, how to cook, how to clean,
right,
and support the mother. So evolutionary, like, hey, mothers are dying at 80, or grandmothers are dying at 80, 90. So it's quite fascinating to kind of see, hey, more adults are having kids later, say 30, 35,
right. Yeah, way later.
40.
Mm-hmm.
But here you get way more genetic defects later in life because we have more toxins in our body. It's not like a 40-year-old has a less likely chance.
The egg's still the same.
Egg right? is the same, just genetically profile. Now you got 40 years of toxins in your body instead of 12 years.
Right.
So I think that's where medicine and education is going to be important to kind of see like why fertility is going down.
Mm-hmm.
I try to detox the body pretty fast with fertility. Glutathione, which is a major antioxidant, detoxes the body quite rapidly. IV wise, it's 30 minutes. Vitamin D, typically very low in people trying to, have a baby. And then detoxing as fast as I can. Ozone therapy, which is ozone gas infused right through the blood. High dose vitamin C also is important. And then obviously running your hormones and kind of seeing, is it the male and your sperm, or is it the female with the egg? And it can be a combination of both.
Right.
Right. So optimize the sperm because, as for guys, optimize the sperm because here, you're the one, the sperm's actually what creates the X chromosome for a female or the Y chromosome for a male.
It's the sperm that does that.
Our Ys, came through.
Cool. Well, we talked a little bit about cold plunges, but is there like a shock to your body that is like triggering obviously dopamine or serotonin, something, right? That like
cold shock proteins too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk briefly about that. This is a craze. I mean, I love it. Everyone I know is buying cold plunges. It's like.
Yeah. So cold plunge decreases inflammation quite rapidly. So there's cold shock proteins that spike with that instant shock of cold. And then
breathing oxygen is good, right? So you have to stay in that 40 something degree water. It's like freezing.
So yeah, mentally you have to get to a very, specific brainwave as well. And then obviously it's meditative there, but the cold secretes catecholamines, which is epinephrine, norepinephrine through the body that you're like, oh, you can kind of wake up. What happens, what I usually recommend cold plunges if you run marathons or you're working out a lot for recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But as you wake up, what happens? Cortisol spikes. Does it spike too much and you're stressed out, or does it underproduce?
Mm.
the counteracting part of cortisol is going to be melatonin. So melatonin spikes at night. Cortisol should spike in the morning. So you should cold plunge if you want a higher cortisol production or catecholamine production. Cold plunge right in the morning. But the workouts and all that type of stuff, I typically say, all right, work out first, then hit your cold plunge. If you cold plunge, your muscles get tight, everything condenses. Then I'm like, all right, Jon, you're gonna have to warm up for 20 minutes before tearing your Achilles.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, you shouldn't have left the Packers.
I hope he's listening. Yeah, like cold plunge. I mean, it's for me. It's just like a new habit. You know, I've created this habit, which is workout, sauna, cold plunge, get ready for, for work. And it just is the hardest thing that I do every day. Like I never get used to looking at that cold water and going, I can't wait to get in there. I just never have. I don't think it's ever going to happen where I'm like, yes, I'm going in the cold plunge. But I just make myself do it. So it's a mindset thing, or it's a mind over matter, mind over body. And I just sitting there, and I know how oxygen is very important in breathing, and so I just do the breathing, and it's very meditative to me. And it's like after probably about 40 seconds, I get a little buzz. Like I literally feel like a little like zinging going on. I don't know what that is scientifically, but I know it's good because then I get a little hit of something where it makes me smile. Like I literally smile when I'm in there, and then I usually smile again when I get out and I'm like in a shower or something like that. I'm just like, this is awesome. Like it just something happens to my mood when I do it. When I don't do it, I feel a little grouchy, like maybe I'm addicted to it. I don't know, but something's good. I mean, for me, something's good's happening. So
what I usually recommend now, it's like, how often are people using cold plunges? How often are people using saunas? Like, don't do it every day. Don't overdo things. Because
moderation.
Moderation. Yeah. Your body gets tolerant to these things.
I don't know if it's going to get tolerant to cold plunging. Dude, it's so cold.
It's always going to be a shock.
Yeah.
But is it good for the body over time? Like recovery-wise, it's going to be great. Do you exhaust your cold shock proteins, your catecholamines, your dopamine release? You only got a certain amount in the brain that your body reproduces over time. So you got to make sure your body's like...
not depleting it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't blow your load all in one load,
And I just heard this, and it was like, God, why don't I know this stuff? You can't know everything, right? So I was going under, like right when I get in, I was going under for 5 seconds and then coming out. And someone was like, be careful because your ears can like close up over time with like, I think it's cartilage or whatever starts building, trying to protect your ears. So like I just do it real quick, like a 1 second dunk, and then shake it out. Like, but you can't know everything, so you gotta be careful. I mean, especially if it's super icy cold, like in the 30s, probably then it's even worse. But like mine's at like 47.
Yeah, you got your eardrum and ossicles. You can get tinnitus with it and different things. Like I said, everything in moderation. If you did it every day for 5 years, I'm like, is there a chance? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, something might happen. Yeah.
But if you do it like once, twice, 3 times a week, I'm like, is that in moderation? It depends on every single person, but yeah, there's so much to the body. This is where
you need someone like you to like be your coach. Like,
you have to,
because we're focused on finance and mortgages and real estate, but we're not focused on, like we need a pro, like to
I need Jon to fund my loans,
right.
And, get that finance piece down. But health wise, like if you think you're the guru, all right, I'll see you in 2 to 5 years.
Right.
Meaning like you're gonna come, right? It's like eventually you're gonna.
It's like picking your own stocks. You're not gonna always. You need someone that's got their eye on the ball all the time, right?
S&P 500. I'm like, all right. So
I have no idea what to pick in that. We talked about, I think 3 years ago, coffee and nicotine, both, big in the mortgage industry, right? A lot of smokers, a lot of coffee drinkers in any industry, but through the years, especially in California, people don't smoke anymore. They don't do the nicotine. Now we see this trend of Zins and like the little vapes and all that stuff. Obviously, smoking is bad for you. We know that. Coffee is probably bad for you. I mean, we know that. But like especially if there's sugar in it and there's, all that stuff. But talk to us a little bit about kind of what the benefit versus, risk versus reward is of that.
I always go, is it naturally produced by our bodies, or do we manipulate something to be beneficial for us?
Yeah.
Cannabis. If you smoked cannabis, great. We've done that.
Listen to this if you're my son.
We've done this for years, right? If you're talking about extracting and making DMT or making MDMA versus taking a plant-based medicine,
Sure.
ayahuasca or whatever, it's very different. So coffee, the coffee beans, hey, just having the coffee beans has antioxidants. It's bitter. It's good for the body. As we extract it, it's something different. So this is where I'm always like, coffee is the most addicting drug in the world because it secretes catecholamines, cortisol, and it gives us more energy initially. Do you exhaust your adrenals over time? Nicotine, as it gets through the bloodstream, we're going to get more mental clarity. We're going to be sharper. We're going to have more energy. Or
relaxing. Maybe it keeps your cortisol down, or maybe it keeps you.
Yeah, or right? Relax. Yeah, either or, right?
So there must be some balance in it, right? It's not if you're doing smoking a pack a day. You're obviously.
I do not recommend that.
But occasionally, a couple cigarettes a week, is that bad?
It depends on what's in it, right? If you're smoking a marble, then I'm terrible. It's gonna be terrible. If you're just smoking,
rolling your own tobacco or something different, maybe.
The moderation thing that we talked about before. Do I think smoking tobacco is bad? Did it every day? Yeah. If you did it socially, I'm like, isn't that bad? I say do it.
And I think it comes down to there's people that are 80, 90, 100 that still smoke every single day. You don't know why that works for them, and maybe it's because it relaxes them. Maybe it's they socialize and it's their way of connecting, and their body's strong and they're fighting off any of the toxins. So, and they don't have all the other stuff. But I don't know. It's an interesting thing. You go to Europe and it's a whole different deal. There's people, they have their meal, they have their cigarette, their wine. They're happy. They're living in the moment.
People might hate me for it, in the natural community, but I'm like, I see it all the time. The healthiest individual doing everything right gets cancer, dies a year later.
Dies of a heart attack, swimming and, doing a marathon or doing it, right?
The unhealthiest dude smokes a pack a day, drinks 5 Pepsis a day, and, eats Big Macs, lives until 102.
You just don't know.
But is happy.
Right. He's happy. There's something to do with happiness.
Is that wrong? And I'm like, for me, there's a balance to the game. Am I a biohacker? Yes. Am I going to be optimal as much as I can? Yes. Will I have an In-N-Out burger? Will I have some Del Taco or whatever? And if it's in a social scene, and I'm like, man, why not?
Yeah.
That's where I am, because I'm like, this is modern day 2023. Yeah. If it was different and I for sure knew, John, I'm going to live until 200, and this is why. If I knew, here's the technology. Maybe I told you about this on the last podcast. Once we get instantaneous blood data, game over. We'll live until 200. We'll know exactly what's happening instantaneous through the body.
So is that you're I've seen those people that have those little stickers on their arms and it's Bluetoothing.
Continuous blood glucose monitors.
Right, stuff like that, where it's instant, okay, gosh, something's going on with my blood pressure right now. There's something wrong. I need to deal with it,
Well, you'll know exactly when you eat, what your testosterone does, what macronutrients you have, what micronutrients you have, what inflammatory markers you have.
Is there a technology right now for that where you can...
If you're out there, contact me.
I have a friend who, this guy Bill just told me about this little, it's not even a watch. It's
the Whoop band?
The Whoop thing. Is that worth getting?
I think all of the biotech that's happening now with heart rate variability, sleep, REM sleep, and just detection, that sensor technology is only going to expand.
Yeah.
If sensor technology expands into blood data and blood chemistry.
Would you have to have a prick into your, it would have to be a little.
I always thought it was going to be a continuous blood glucose monitor. You strap something on. Instead of testing just glucose, what if it tested 20 lab values? Estrogen, testosterone, inflammatory markers, whatever.
And then just went to your phone and then just alerted you. A little
hey, John, message. You drank too much,
Tequila.
Yeah, you drank too much tequila. your blood alcohol content went up too high or whatever it is.
So someone's got to have that, right?
Soon.
Like you shouldn't drive. You're at 0.08.
Elon, if you have it already, share it.
Yeah, someone's going to come out with it, and then AI will be attached to it, and it'll be just lights out.
It will get there. I think 15 to 20 years.
Yep.
I think in the next 5.
I would think sooner than 15, 20.
I think in the next 5, it's going to be more holistically based and more injection based. More people are going to do NAD. More people are going to be like, let me take care of my health. Let me figure out what's going on. Then obviously AI technologies, biotech technologies, blood data will evolve and change. Then it's going to take time for the market to adapt to it.
Yep. What about LIVV Natural future plans? I know you're going to take over the world. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm actually doing another space here in Cardiff, Encinitas, and we're building a 5,000 square foot facility with aesthetic treatment rooms, which will do Botox fillers, regenerative lasers, like radio frequency. We'll have all different types of lasers there as estheticians. Then we'll actually do PRP injections, microneedling, stem cells.
Oxygen.
Then we have cold plunges, infrared saunas, hot tubs, meditation garden, massage, lymphatic massage, hyperbaric chambers. You want me to keep going?
Keep going, man.
Ozone therapy. We'll have full locker rooms there. We'll have a grab and go bar with organic foods, juices, smoothies. And then obviously consultation rooms where you can talk about with doctors and nurses, health goals, understanding where your blood data is at.
Yep.
And it's going to be smack dab right there off of Birmingham in Cardiff.
Is there a way to get your blood work done faster? Because like when we did ours, it took, I don't know, a week or two. I was like, but I imagine the technology exists now where it's, you do your labs, then you have a machine, put it in, you get results. Like,
yeah.
Why do we have to wait 2 weeks to get our blood work done?
It's just, there's different companies.
Monopoly going on with Quest and all that?
Quest and LabCorp just own it all, but they have the biggest blood set datas of everybody.
It's just a big machine they put it in, right? And then it tells you, like, what's that, $1 million machine?
There's just different machines that test for different things. They take so many vials because the technology hasn't improved.
Yeah.
But that old school technology has way more data than any new technology would. So let's just say it has 200 years of mining your blood.
Right.
So I'm like, I trust it more that way than a new company be like, I got the best technology. I'm doing these specific testing. But with Cardiff, I'm going to be hiring a specific phlebotomist for patients on membership that they'll come straight to your house, take everything, and obviously it'll be included into the membership where you won't have to wait at a Quest or, wait 2 weeks to get an appointment and things like that. Like It's going to be as instantaneous as I can.
And for those who don't know, I mean, there are now people that will come to your house. This is what I did. They literally show up, they call you, make an appointment, they come to your house, they take your blood, takes 10 minutes max.
Yeah,
and
5
then
minutes.
It's like you don't have to go to sit there with your mask on and just wait and spend an hour trying to get your blood work done. They just come to you with your office. They get 6, 7, 8 vials, it was quite a lot. I was like, whoa, do I even have that much blood in me? But no, but then they do it, and then then a week and a half later, you called me with my results, and we get on a plan. So I was like, that's way better than having to go to the Quest and wait for them to call your name and your ticket, and you're in a big room full of people, and it's just
yeah,
takes a lot of time.
That's the next step after that. All your blood set datas. I'm actually building an algorithm. It's going to take me a little bit, but it should come out by the time Cardiff comes out. I'll have like a LIVV score, almost like your credit score. It's going to be
your health score.
Your health score.
Interesting.
And your health score is going to be correlated with all of your blood work, what you're doing, inflammatory markers, testosterone, hormones, kidney function, liver function, and we'll give you a specific score based on everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be important for people to understand objectively. Hey, John, your health score is at a 20. You're slacking, pick it up.
Even if you're a marathon runner and you're a triathlete or whatever, those people drop dead. Unfortunately, it's so sad. And they are probably the ones that would never think that they would be susceptible to some kind of cardiac arrest or because they're in tip-top shape. But so whoever you are, I mean, it doesn't hurt to go get your labs done, to get, even if you think you're in the best shape ever, don't be one of those that just has life hit you, on the side of that.
Too much masculine energy to be like, dude,
I'm good. I don't need anything. Yeah. I mean, it's like, let's pull your credit. Let's check your blood. Let's just do it. Let's see where we're at.
And yeah,
I might just save your life, right?
I suggest that for everyone, right? Like I run mine every 3 to 4 months. I run my parents, we run a bunch of lab work all the time. And I'm like, everybody is so different. And
do you ever see like a number and you're just like, oh, I need to call him right now? Like it spikes. There's something wrong or something that's super low. And they're like, oh, dude, we need to get you into the, like, what it does like your PSA, right? So like if there's like cancer or white blood cells, or like what would you see if there was a problem and you needed to like take action?
There's specific lab values that obviously are more alarming than others, but do I see it often? No. And most likely, the detection, if it is, let's just say kidney function is probably the biggest one that I see most often that no primary care doc kind of checks.
Right.
Or alarms the patient of. So your GFR is your glomerular filtration rate. Creatinine is another kidney function marker. If you're less than 90 for GFR, you're actually at chronic kidney disease. Just say you're at 85, you're at stage 1. And it can kind of build all the way up. Or stage 5. Don't quote me on all those. But
you see like pre-diabetes, like that's a big one.
Pre-diabetes.
That's like on the 4 horsemen of killers is diabetes, right?
Sugar. We talked about this before. Sugar kills everything. Starts killing neurons. This is where people get peripheral neuropathies. This is where people get ulcers. It just starts deteriorating your eyes. Your vision changes. Man, diabetic neuropathy. It starts deteriorating your kidneys.
And is it just like white sugar, or is it like any kind of sugar? It has honey. Honey's obviously better, but like, is it just because there's so much sugar? It's almost like we're overdosing because it's in like all the food. It's in every packaged. If the first ingredient is corn syrup, right, or high fructose corn syrup, you're eating just terrible stuff, right?
You can get very granular with how crazy additives and all these things, but anything, and this is what I typically say, anything that is sweet. If you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, anything that is sweet, you should get rid of it for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Can I get into the routine? Because most people here, I'll pretty much guarantee it. I'll put another $100 down. I'm like, yo, they're going to eat some sweet things. And like, I love sweets too, right?
Chocolate, I love chocolate.
But can you decrease your glucose levels fast enough, get out of the pre-diabetic range, and then can I help you stabilize?
Yep. That's good.
This is where metformin comes into play. This is where semaglutide actually comes into play as well. These were different things to kind of drop blood sugar levels. And here, the standard American diet, the SAD diet, we're just eating too much. Way too much. We consume everything.
You gotta have breakfast. You gotta have lunch. You gotta have a snack. You gotta have dinner. Then you have dessert.
We just eat too much food.
Yeah. I went to Japan and I was shocked. It's like, there's not a fat person. Where's the sumo wrestlers? I'm like, where? I was just like, America is just, and Mexico. I go to Mexico and there's a lot of fat people in Mexico. Just like, what is going on? You go to Japan, everyone's thin. Like what? Like why? Right? It's not just genetics. It's the diet. It's the culture. There's a lot that's in it.
This is what it's the lifestyle you live, right? America has a specific lifestyle. Europe has a specific lifestyle. And what I'm trying to create at LIVV is like a LIVV lifestyle here in Southern California that I can help spread.
Yep.
4 determinants that I think of: external health, like how we look, so the aesthetics; internal health, mental, emotional, like what we're thinking, what our mindset is; and optimization, how you actually optimizing the body to perform at the highest level, because we're competing against some sharks.
Yeah.
There's some sharks in this room, So I'm like, you got to have the upper edge to compete. And
why not take the time and spend a little money and get yourself optimized, right?
Just like meditation, just like working out, just like eating right, it's like invest the time into that lifestyle and invest into LIVV or myself,
right,
or another holistic doctor to really optimize how you feel, because you'll be a better shark.
Yeah.
If not, you'll be a guppy fish.
So there's so many things out there, and so much noise, like we talked about. Like, what's some resources that you could share with our group, just to like, is there some YouTube channels? Do you have a YouTube channel? Tell us some resources.
Yeah, so I'm actually pushing out 90 blogs in 90 days of some topics that I'm like really passionate about, and like really understanding the difference between peptides and testosterone versus NAD versus NMN and different supplements out there, the aesthetics and how aesthetics is changing. So our YouTube channel's at LIVV Natural.
2 V's.
2 V's.
Spell it out.
L-I Victor Natural. So LIVV Natural.com. So the website will have all of our blogs, all of our content on there as well.
Cool.
And then I split up a bunch of different Instagram channels, but at LIVV Natural, L-I Victor Natural is going to be our main handle. And then all the resources are going to be there. Resources out there that I kind of trust. There's going to be some specific providers that are providing specific care. Next Health is great. They're up in Los Angeles, so
Next Health.
Yeah, okay. So it's called Next Health. And the people that are advancing in regenerative medicine as well as like alternative medicine is just those resources, the people that are doing it right is beneficial, right? Huberman's doing it right. The science is out there. It's just, can we put it into layman's terms, and can we put it into the general day-to-day person, the general average Joe, the average family? Can we get them in to actually be like, oh, this makes sense. Let me take care of my health. Are these specific things going to help?
Yep. Cool. Any shout outs? Anyone's helped you along the way?
We drink tequila. Shout outs. Right now, it's really going to be just the team that I have consolidated now. Like, without them,
Go LIVV team.
It's, from the marketing to the digital to the ops. I started, with a 1, 2, 3 person team. Now it's, 20 plus. And then with a second location building, I'm like, it's going to get even bigger.
Yeah.
Now we got an e-com store as well. So the team will grow with, the peptide store and getting it more susceptible nationwide for people to kind of get access to knowledge and information, but get the products that will actually help.
Awesome. What about, I'm going to put you on the spot here. If any of our listeners want to come have a consult with you, would you give like 10% off, or like do a little like use the podcast code, FundLoans or MDME 10, or would you give them any kind of 5%, anything? Just want to get you some business and would love to get my listeners a little discount.
Yeah. So all the listeners now, product wise on our e-com store, we'll give 20% off of any product.
That's generous. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So we'll make a specific code. We'll put it into the text, within the podcast.
Let's make it MDME 20.
MDME 20. Easy.
Perfect.
So we'll put that out there. And then consultation wise, if you want to kind of have a free consultation, we provide free 15-minute consultations that'll walk through health goals, past medical history, supplements, medications, what you're doing.
Awesome.
And then our clinic is just results based. Jon comes in.
Yep. I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Hey, I want more energy. Boom. Like, we're going to do that for you.
Yeah.
So.
It's cool. It's a good way to, you want to outlive, you want to, have longevity, health,
you want to live a life worth living.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for listening. Please like, share, subscribe. As I always say, let us know what guests you want to hear from. Please comment too. I love hearing kind of what your thoughts are on this podcast. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
The $1 Million Mortgage Experience Podcast.